I've been getting emails from people asking me to define anti-Semitism. Okay, so, because people are doing this routine on the left where they say, being anti-Israel doesn't mean that you're anti-Semitic. Opposing certain actions that Israel takes does not mean that you're anti-Semitic, obviously. Opposing actions taken by the Israeli government or perspectives of the Israeli government on particular issues does not mean that you are anti-Semitic. I'm not anti-American, and I oppose some of the policies of every administration. I'm not anti-Israel, obviously, and I oppose many policies of the Israeli government. Most obviously, the 2005 pullout from the Gaza Strip that turned over the entire place to the terrorist group Hamas. Okay, that's not anti-Semitic. What is anti-Semitic is believing, one, that Israel does not have a right to exist. Two, treating Israel in a way that you would never treat any other state. So holding them to a standard you would hold no other state. And three, suggesting that Jews everywhere are responsible for the specific actions of Israel and punishing Jews as a collective for the actions of the Israeli government. So you see this in Europe a lot. Every time Israel's in a war, people try to burn down synagogues. That's obviously anti-Semitism. It is also anti-Semitic to buy into giant anti-Jewish conspiracy theories. The idea that the Jews are manipulating world events as a collective. We get together at our synagogues and we control the weather and the financial system and the media. That's anti-Semitic conspiracy theory nonsense. The problem for Ilhan Omar is that she believes a lot of these things. And it is obvious from her statements and her activities that she does believe a lot of these things. By the way, my suggestion that this is what anti-Semitism is not unique to me. It is the State Department definition of anti-Semitism. Here are some of the examples of anti-Semitism that the plenary in Bucharest decided to declare in the Stockholm Declaration are anti-Semitic. Okay, calling for, aiding, or justifying the killing or harming of Jews in the name of a radical ideology or an extremist view of religion. Making mendacious, dehumanizing, demonizing, or stereotypical allegations about Jews as such or the power of Jews as collective, such as, especially but not exclusively, the myth about a world Jewish conspiracy or of Jews controlling the media, economy, government, or other societal institutions. Accusing Jews as a people of being responsible for real or imagined wrongdoing committed by a single Jewish person or group, or even for acts committed by non-Jews. Accusing the Jews as a people or Israel of a state of inventing or exaggerating the Holocaust. Accusing Jewish citizens of being more loyal to Israel, this is the dual loyalty canard that is engaged in openly by Rashida Tlaib, or the alleged priorities of Jews worldwide than to the interests of their own nations. Denying the Jewish people their right to self-determination, for example, by claiming that the existence of the State of Israel is a racist endeavor. Okay, that is definitional anti-Semitism according to the State Department. Here's Ilhan Omar doing exactly that in the last month.
When I see Israel institute law that recognizes it as a Jewish state and does not recognize the other religions that are living in it, and we still uphold it as a democracy in the Middle East, I almost chuckle because I know that if we see that in any other society, we would criticize it, we would call it out. We do that to Iran, we do that to any other place that sort of upholds its religion.
Okay, she's just lying now. She's lying openly. Muslims have more rights in Israel than they do in any Muslim state anywhere in the Middle East. Islam is a religion that is protected by Israeli law. Mosques are protected by Israeli law. The Islamic Waqf controls the holiest site in Judaism, the Temple Mount itself. She's just full of it, right? And her suggestion that Israel cannot exist as a Jewish state is an anti-Semitic canard and fully in keeping with everything that she has said in the past. Drawing comparisons of contemporary Israeli policy to that of the Nazis, another State Department recognized version of anti-Semitism. Using symbols and images associated with classical anti-Semitism, claims of Jews killing Jesus, of the blood libel to characterize Israel or Israelis. Right? Bottom line is this. If we are going to analyze anti-Semitism, and I've done this before on the program, it seems to me that in the modern world there are three types of anti-Semitism. One is old school religious anti-Semitism, the belief that Judaism is a gutter religion in the view of Louis Farrakhan. That is sort of classical anti-Semitism, that Judaism is inherently evil and terrible and wrong, and therefore it must be wiped out, right? That is classical anti-Semitism. You can say religious anti-Semitism. Then there is racial anti-Semitism, the idea that the Jews as a race are nefarious, evil, attempting to undermine society, right? That is the second type of anti-Semitism. You see that mostly associated with sort of alt-right Nazi-esque groups. The idea that the Jews are a separate group of people genetically and therefore they have an agenda all their own. And then there's the left-wing version of anti-Semitism, and that is that the world is made up of people who are more privileged and less privileged. Jews are more privileged. Therefore, the Jews are engaging in activity to keep their privilege to themselves. And that crosses over a lot with intersectional theory. So people wonder how it is that the far left, which doesn't share a lot of priorities with radical Islam, seems to share priorities when it comes to Israel and anti-Semitism. And the answer is because there's a lot of crossover. Radical Islam says religiously Jews are evil, and also they cross over into Nazi-esque territory with the Jews are the sons of pigs and monkeys. Israel is a gutter state. Israel shouldn't exist. And then you have the far left, which says that Israel obviously is a victimizing, exploiting state and uses its world power in order to hypnotize the world, right? There's a lot of crossover between these two things. So, is Ilhan Omar anti-Semitic? Yes, she's anti-Semitic. She's been anti-Semitic for years. There is nothing new here. There are those of us who were calling it out for legitimately months before she was elected, as soon as she started making the national stage.